Time for recent reads. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got a recent reads for you. I've got 4 books here that I have most currently read, and I guess I had some really good books in here. Actually don't think I had anything less than 4 stars, so it was actually a pretty good section of reading here. So we'll link these 4 down below. Also down below is Danielle's channel and our Patreon. Come support the channel. And yeah, otherwise don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into the books. Alright, so the first book I'm going to talk about, I actually did a whole review rant video on this book already. Again, I don't know which one's going to go up first. If it's that video, then check it out up here. If it's not, then be ready for it to come out. Whatever. And that is Roadwork by Stephen King, otherwise known as Richard Bachman. So this book is the fourth Bachman book that was written. The other ones being Long Walk, Rage, and Running Man. This one, I first read this one, I gave it 4 stars. This time around, I'm going to keep it at 4 stars. I think it's a really good story. I don't know. I feel the same about it as I did. Again, went on a long tangent in the video I did with this. So hopefully we have it posted before this one. If not, then stay tuned for it and you'll get more information about the book and my thoughts and opinions. Spoiler free at the start with spoilers at the end in the video coming out with this book. In short, this is about a guy who is pissed because there is the Highway 784 extension is in the process of being built over pretty much his town, or most of it. His home is going to be destroyed, the place where he works is going to be destroyed, and Barton Dawes is not happy about it. And pretty much is just a story about him and like how he's coping with it, and in short, it's not well. And so I'm very excited to have read this one again because I think it's an underrated Bachman book. Out of the, how many are there? 8? So there's 7 or 8 of them. This is my 3rd favorite one. It's kind of tied with Running Man, but definitely one of my favorites, and I think it's highly underrated, which is, you know, whatever. But yeah, still 4-star book. There you have Roadwork by Stephen King. Alright, next up is my 2nd ever Cormac McCarthy book, and that is The Road. So this was one we found at, where was this? Half Price? No, at Barnes & Noble. And I read the back of it. It's a post-apocalyptic book, and I really, really like this book. I'm going to give it 4 stars, though, mainly because, just like with No Country for Old Men, which was a 5-star book, and I absolutely loved that book, there's no chapter breaks, and the biggest thing was the dialogue in this thing. Oh my goodness, I really hated the dialogue. So this is about a father and son who are walking through America to try and reach a destination, and basically the world is over. Like, nuclear stuff went off, the snow is gray, the water's black, like it's like really hard living, it's really bad, and I just didn't like the dialogue between some of the father and son. It seemed robotic. Like it didn't seem like an actual conversation. Like at some point in the book, this isn't a spoiler, the kid has a flute and he throws it away, and the dad's like, "What'd you do with the flute?" "I threw it away." Okay. It's like, what kind of dialogue is that? Like, you'd be asking, okay, well, why? Like, what happened? Like, why'd you throw it out? Instead, it's just, okay. Like, that's just like a reoccurring thing that happens, like, in the book, is like, somebody will say, okay, and then it's just responded with, okay. Like, I don't know, it's because, like, it's a father and son, the son's just trying to be like, okay, I got it. But, like, it really was getting annoying. Like, that's like one of the, if it wasn't for that, I know a lot of people comment saying like, "Oh, you always say like too much." Well, that's just what I do. Whatever. It kind of felt like it was just getting too obnoxious. Like, I don't need to keep hearing the word okay. Like how I've said like 18 times since I said it to begin with. But I just didn't understand why it just had to keep being reoccurred. Like, okay, yes, okay. I just didn't, I don't know, the dialogue felt flaky. I didn't like it. That part I didn't like. But the story was phenomenal, and I liked the bondage between the father and son. Ending was kind of sad, but it is what it is. So 4 stars, Cormac McCarthy, The Road. Next up is one that is part of a series. It's the first book in the series. I gave it 4 stars as well. I'm very excited to continue the series, and that is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. So the second book is called Don't Fear the Reaper, which is on my May TBR, which will be out after this. But I'm very excited to continue this series. This book is about a girl named Jade Daniels. I think her actual name is Jennifer, I believe, but they call her Jade. Basically, her town is pretty much involved with, there's these 2 kids, these foreign exchange students who get murdered in a boat at the very beginning of the book, and it is basically perceived by her as, oh, this is the start of a slasher film. She's an 80s horror, like, nut, and she's, like, ecstatic, because it's like, oh, I'm going to be, this is like a horror movie, and all this stuff, like, OMG, like, who's going to be the final girl, and who's going to be this, and what's going to happen, and it definitely does not play out that way at all with everything that happens towards the end of the book. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything. This was a really, really big roller coaster for me because a lot of things happened. We're following a big town. And as most of you guys know, I usually always have issues with following big towns and everything like that. I had to reread The Stand. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's a lot of confusing things that kind of happen with this for me. So I ended up having to read some stuff online, and everything checked out and everything is good to go. I thoroughly enjoyed this story. Basically, they're in this town, Proof Rock, I think is what it's called. It's not in the blurb up here. I'm pretty sure it's called Proof Rock. And basically, on the other side of this river, there's this other town, or this other place that had to deal with, like, Indians, and I honestly really like this story. And I really want to keep going with it because Jade as a character was like really cool, and I just want to keep seeing what happens with her and how the story continues and everything like that. Hopefully that's not a spoiler, because obviously they're up to the 3rd book now, so I would think it's not a spoiler. So there you have My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. Alright, the most recent book that I read, that I gave this book 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book, Wasps in the Ice Cream by Tim McGregor. So this book, I knew nothing really about it. Danielle had recommended me to read this. We got it from the library. And I really, really just love this book. So we're following this kid named Mark who is in high school, and he has friends. I think it's Eric and what's the other kid's name? He's really annoying. Not many people. He doesn't really like him because he's just kind of like a butthole, and I really cannot think of his name, and it's gonna bug the heck out of me here. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it. I can't think of what the other kid's name is. The one kid's name is Eric. He's kind of like the pushover of the group, where he's just kind of like, he won't take sides. He doesn't really care. He's just kind of like, okay, yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll do that. And the one kid is just a total douche throughout the entire thing, and I just really did not like him, and I'm really upset that I cannot remember what the heck his name is, and I'm really trying to find it here, but I think it's just a lost cause. So, Kevin, that's his name. So, Kevin was kind of the butthole of the group. Basically, what happened, this dude, it's basically following these kids in the summer. There is a family, the Pharaoh girls, where there's 3 of them. They're all sisters, and they are like weird. They're perceived as like kind of like witches or like doing witchcraft. They're really creepy. And there's a tragedy with the family where the mom and dad just kind of kept them secluded. They pulled them out of school. The eldest sister was killed in a car accident, and there's all this speculation as to what it was. Oh, she was murdered. It was an accident. And the big plot twist at the end with revealing how she died was like, oh, okay. Because throughout most of this book, there's all this, like, Kevin and Mark are like good friends, but at the same time, there seems to always be kind of tension between them. Kevin's kind of a douche, like I said, and Mark's just kind of trying to live his life. They pull a prank on the sisters, and Mark feels really bad. He befriends one of the sisters, Georgia. They call her George. She's the middle child. Well, now the middle one. And it's like they fall, like he like secretly he loves her, but he doesn't really know how to deal with it or say it. He's got this whole like car situation. He works at an ice cream shop and a car shop for the same guy. And that, like, honestly, Wasps in the Ice Cream is like a really wicked title for this, mainly because like I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm gonna stop saying stuff. But this book was really, really good. What saved it was literally the last line. I was teetering on a 4-star, and I was like, okay, really, this is how it's gonna end? Like, okay, whatever. And then like the last line was like, oh, okay, I can deal with that. And so I ended up giving it 5 stars. So I liked it. I highly recommend it. And there you have Wasps in the Ice Cream by Tim McGregor. Alright, so those are my 4 most recent reads. I got 3 4-stars and a 5-star. It was a really good set of books here. I'm very excited. What are some books you've read? Make sure you let me know in the comments down below. If you've read these, what are your thoughts on these books? Yeah, otherwise down below again, Danielle's channel and the Patreon. Help support us. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.